Welcome, everyone lied to me. They said Spiritborn is trash this season, but they're wrong. Thorns Gorilla Spiritborn is hitting for billions of damage and has one of the most fun power scalings. Because we're using the power of Thorns to really excel our damage to the moon. And this goes rapidly from turn 1, 2, 3 to then. How do we scale Thorns damage now? How do we have our Rocksplitter do these massive overpowers and delete the board? That has once to do with pushing our stats all the way to 4,500 dexterity. Thank you, updated key passive on the Spiritborn. And a certain rune combo that allows us to overpower every 4th hit. Sadly, not more often. Every 4th hit is actually really good. It used to be every 6th hit, but we found a new updated rune combo that I almost forgot about as so much better. And before I forget to mention that, you're pretty much doing all of this by just holding down your right mouse button in between jumping in with a hunter and triggering your cooldowns, while you have permanent up barrier and fortify and simply die. And that's like from level 1 to Torment 4. I think this character has actually only died at Belial because I walked into that poison spit. How do we overpower now? Step 1, you need the Moni What. I cast 2 mobility skills. My Rocksplitter is a mobility skill, and that will then cast the Decrepify. This Decrepify will trigger the Zol rune, invoke a skill from another class, which then triggers Zen. For your next attack will cause your hits to be guaranteed critical strike overpowers. So I do 1, 2, curse, 1, 2, curse. Then I will critical strike overpower, boom, and that critical strike overpower hit already counts towards the curse again, boom, curse. And that leads then to me being able to spam away and hit up to 10, 20 billions of damage with those overpower hits. That's why attack speed is the name of the game. We want every item to have a huge amount of attack speed, as your bonus can go quite up here. I mean, that's 173%, and that's not even me fully stacked up. So if I'm actually hitting away and triggering everything and we get the circle, and yeah, we're seeing a 160% attack speed bonus. You want that. And the second amazing thing the Spiritborn can do is jump your dexterity, that's 2,800 and 350% all damage, all the way up easily to 4,500. Ta-da! Where the willpower, int, and strength also provides us bonuses like more overpower damage. And this is being done over the buffed adaptive stance. The base spirit of a skill cast grants you 30% damage reduction for Gorilla and 30% attack speed for Jag, but if I cast a skill of a different base spirit, so I spam Gorilla, and then I swap over to casting a Jag skill, then my core stats get 75% bonus for 7 seconds, which means you're hammering away with a Rocksplitter, and then 7 seconds, and 7 seconds. And you're remixing your Jaguar skills, very relaxed to remain this super updated bonus. And that's huge stat boost is so important because it multiplies up your thorns like crazy, and your thorns also get overpowered critical strike like crazy. And how we're now hitting our enemies with thorns, we have the Spirit Hall. Casting a Gorilla skill deals 200% thorns to enemies you hit and grants myself barrier. Good, I'm completely buried up, I can never die. And then we get the skill called Rocksplitter, which up here, Rocksplitter increases your thorns by 80 for 5 seconds. Your third attack deals 100% of your thorns to enemies. Cool, that's great, but that's only every third attack. Well, that's where Sapasontek comes in. This is from Duriel and Dariel and the Harbinger of Hatred. Your basic skills deal 130% increased damage and always use their third attack. Every third cast of basic skill strikes 3 times. So we go bop, bop, brrrt, bop, bop, brrrt, but it's always the third cast, right? It's always that bonus thorns damage. Then we can deal double damage and we get 8 ranks to follow through. And follow through is right here in the beginning for another 44% bonus damage with the third cast of the attack. So we triple the third cast. The third cast is always casting. And then we also get the 44% bonus damage. Fantastic. We want to do more thorns damage though. That's where the toxic skin comes in. Toxic skin says, poisoned enemies take 100% increased thorns damage. So we do a lot of thorns damage. We scale the thorns damage. We hit them and then we make it even bigger. And the Ravager will passively give us more ferocity and add another damage bonus to our attacks, while with the armored hide, we can get another 672 thorns on top as we then trigger it. While Bastion grants us another 360 thorns in total, and while you have Barrier, your thorns are increased by 20%. Sadly, more ranks into this don't increase the damage bonus, it just increases the bonus thorns, so it's not worth it to temper into this. We get the counterattack to increase our dodge chance by 100% as we trigger it. And we'll get to that with a Paragon board because there is a glyph that profits from this. Lastly, we do the Hunter for a nice damage boost and to jump around the map. Plus, if you time it right, as you then trigger the Overpower, you can actually make the Hunter Overpower as well, which has us attack the enemy with Rocksplitter. Then we're going to trigger the Armored Hide to get more thorns and do more damage because our thorns does more damage. With our counterattack, we get 100% more dodge and even more thorns. We can do the Hunter in between, and you can also add the Ravager. Again, keep in mind that your Jaguar skills want to be cast every 7 seconds to really maintain this high amount of dexterity and use the Armored Hide as often as possible. And in order to use the Armored Hide as often as possible, we're actually playing the Loyalty's Mantle. This gives us all stats. All stats work great with what we're doing here anyways. Damage reduction, movement speed. And then while your Spirit Hold choices match, their bonuses are 100% more potent. More Thorns damage, more Barrier, more Resolve stacks. Resolve stacks will lead to more damage, and skills of their base spirit gain vigor cost reduction and cooldown reduction. Without the helmet, we got this 23.29 seconds up. And with the helmet is looking at 1304 that we can more often use the Armored Hide. The helmet would drop from Grigoire the Galvanic Saint. Razorblade is Thorns, all Thorns damage. Right now we're sitting at basics Thorns of 6,459. And if I then start attacking and start stacking and start scaling, we get the thorns up to 7,000. That's just with basic attacks. Then I can get them up to 11,000, and with my dodge, I can get them all the way up to 14,000. That is temporary, as you then have to keep casting the counterattack, but 14,000 thorns is quite realistic. Your pants can have even more thorns for you and increase the Rocksplitter size by 85%. That's huge. We also temper more dodge chance here and dodges to fortify us. But our real source of fortify, as we do overpower damage, and overpower damage is max life plus fortify times all the other stuff. We're actually using Rahir together with his shield charge. Shield charge does actually fortify you, keeps us completely fortify up at all times. And since we are also being a gorilla, we're always buried up. Therefore, no one breaks our fortify. Then on our boots, we get more ferocity stacks. And that's super important because ferocity is attack speed. The more stacks we have, the faster we attack. We have 12 resolve. That's a huge damage bonus. We have 2 ferocity here right now. But if I start attacking, we actually have 12 ferocity. 12 ferocity is 5% more attack speed per ferocity. So that's a lot. The most important part is that you're playing the Mystic Circle. We have up to a 25% chance to make it. It's Plains power. And then casting a Jack skill inside a Mystic Circle empowers them to keep your ferocity at maximum and increases your damage by 8.6% per stack while you remain within. Well, so that would be then 12 stacks, 8.6%. Seems good. The crazy part is this is not maxed out. It could be 10.2% times 1,220% bonus damage. And we have tempers that say Mystic Circle potency increase. This is only 17.6 out of 19.5. This is 18.1 out of 21.8. Yep, we can get this even higher. I could remove the total armor temper on the amulet to get myself even more out of this. I can probably get it up to 11 or 12%, 140% bonus damage. Just like that. Activate your Armored Hide, get your Jaguar skills to scale then together and beat them up. Make sure to have a Jack skill every 7 seconds active because we always have the Gorilla skill there. And then with your Hunter, you're going to wait until you're halfway to the Overpower to then trigger it together with the Overpower, and you then have both. And you notice we're getting him clapped. That was a 15 billion hit. It's not super fast, but it's plenty fast enough. For the damage scaling, we get Moonrise, bonus attack speed and 100% bonus damage, and Adaptability with another 100% bonus damage. Your rings want to have Dex, max life, and attack speed. There's no question here. Hunter cooldown and Mystic Circle potency. For the Amulet, you want to have the maximum dexterity, 100%. Max life, attack speed, also nice. Hunter cooldown. The total armor is not necessarily needed as our armor is okay anyways. We could kick this out for then even more Mystic Circle potency. I do have one overpower damage temper here, as you have no overpower damage from your Paragon board, and we do overpower damage, so a 1 max rolled overpower damage would be great. Maybe even a second one if I'm honest with you, as that scales nicely as well. The aspect we play on the Glyphs is currently the Accursed Touch, and that's because I don't have another source of vulnerable going around, and I don't have like any lucky hit chance to vulnerable. That's why I then went with the Accursed Touch. It works plenty well. Now we talked about the Paragon board, and this is where it gets really important. First, you want to have Spirit Glyph. Spirit Glyph is bonus crit. We always crit Overpower, so that's nice. We're getting another 15% bonus damage with another 10% bonus damage as well. That's super good. It was quite a lot. Then we're going into the Vicious Shield board. We get 1% increased damage for each 3% of maximum life as Barrier. We get our Barrier over our Gorilla Spirit Hall. That works really nice. And then we get Colossal. Colossal gives us 2% more damage per stack of Resolve. We have 12 stacks of Resolve. That's 24% more damage. Nice. I mean, we get 15, 10% there. We get 24% here and another 6% to close. Cool. With Spiny Skin, we do 35% more Thorns if we use a cooldown every 5 seconds. Every 7 seconds Jack skill, every 5 seconds in general using a cooldown. That's together with Hubris, where we gain 3,000 Thorns based on our dodge bonus. If we now use our counterattack, that's 100% dodge, and that also scales the bonus of the Hubris to 3,000 easily, with another 6% damage to vulnerable, and it also scales the Thorns we're getting here, because there's a lot of Thorns available in the board. You take all the Thorns that you can get. This leads us into the LvLIng board, where we have a chance to knock down enemies, and we do more damage versus knock down enemies as a gorilla, plus the Revenge Glyph for another 15% more damage if we damage an enemy with Thorns. Haha. Also take all the attack speed nodes that you can find. That's another 15 plus 5% damage bonus, 20% again. And for our final board, we're using Infighter, increased attack speed and damage, together with the Outmatch Glyph. And we also do get bonus dodge chance and maximum life here. Due to having Barrier all the time, I don't really need to look for resistances. I can't simply die. No matter what I do, I have the Barrier up. I need to hit enemies. I'm fully barriered. I have my Resolve stacks, and I'm always unstoppable, because when I have at least 3 Resolve stacks, you are unstoppable. I always have 3 Resolve stacks. I can simply not die. With the tons of damage reduction the build provides, I'm just zooming. Now, technically, to get the most damage, I should masterwork the Mystic Circle potency, because that is just an insane multiplier for all the damage we're dealing. More damage here, more all damage in general, going out left, right, and center. And before you ask, how do you level with this? What did you actually play? I played this. I played exactly this with the Belial's I-Beam power. Now I use different powers. First, we got Alex Talon. Alex Talon works whenever we attack with a basic skill. Okay, that's great. Technically, you could also choose Taurus Rage. Damaging a crowd control enemy makes them and surrounding enemies unstoppable, but you gain 20% increased damage, attack speed, and movement speed for 3 seconds. Now, I do prefer Alex Talon, though, because it just simply always triggers. It doesn't rely on damaging a crowd control enemies. Then you want to have Belial's I-Beam for the 30% overpowered damage. And since we attack always with a basic skill, we always trigger the stealth from Belial's I-Beam. We always have the 30% bonus damage after then Overpower with Rocksplitter. This gets added with a Flash Reaper's Disruption for another 20% bonus damage. You're not going to play Harbingers, because Harbingers would deplete our resource to make everyone vulnerable, and then our adaptability wouldn't deal that 100% bonus damage when cast above 50% resource. Lastly, there's Ashava's Poison Breath for always poisoning our opponents. And that's actually important, because right now you have the skill Toxic Skin, which says poisoned opponents take 100% Thorns damage. And technically they only get poisoned when they actually hit me. But that's the thing. Sometimes I just stun them, knock them down. They don't actually hit me. I just hit them all the time. Therefore, I want to poison them. I could activate the Toxic Skin for this, but that is only possible every 14 seconds. Rather have them permanently poisoned than actually fiddle around with that. GG. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Spiritborn something for you? Does this look fun? It was a real fun and silly journey, and I can clear Pit 75 with this, so the seasonal journey can actually be cleared. GG. You're now looking for tips, items, survival, damage scaling. 2 videos that get you covered. Enjoy and have a good day.